Calling this meeting of the review of the budget in session. Ms. Perry, please call us the roll.
Councilman Hughes?
Here.
Councilman Stanley?
Here.
Councilman Wendell?
Here.
Council President Spadafino?
Here. Okay. We have the,
You're gonna do a recap?
gonna do a recap?
No. Continue on, Michael.
Okay. So,
Pretty full.
the first up for review tonight is the Recreation, Parks, and Community Service Department. The representative, please step up to the mic. Give your name and position.
All right, good evening. Mike Reisner, Director of Recreation, Parks, and Community Services. So the Department of Recreation, Parks, and Community Services is a diverse resource in our community, as many of you know. We are comprised of 15 separate budget accounts. We get involved in everything from operating a water park, day camps, tree removals, and everything in between, it seems like. In 2017, just a little recap, these budget accounts collectively provided more than 400 programs and over 16 special events. We serviced more than 5,000 residents through our programs alone, over 23,000 people via the Township special events and public celebrations, over 76,000 patrons at the Crystal Springs Family Water Park, and many, many more visitors to the Township's great park system, which includes over 600 acres and 21 public parks that we maintain throughout the year. During the summer peak season, our combined part-time seasonal staff totals close to 500 employees, major undertaking just in hiring those folks. We estimate that over 4,800 children participate in the coalition of athletic organizations which utilize many of our township resources, fields, and parks themselves. The East Brunswick Youth Council also is part of our department, and last year contributed over 9,000 hours of community service within our community among close to 600 high school age members and volunteers. A very busy group that's all over town. Some of the past year's projects or highlights, which I would like to thank the mayor and council for supporting our department in these endeavors. I'll name a few. We completed the Bicentennial Park tennis court and LED lighting system officially opened in 2017. And we do have some surface repairs that we still have to do out there, but for the most part it's operating with much fanfare out there. We installed a welcome area and flagpole area donated by the East Brunswick Emergency Services Group at Heavenly Farms. We've continued an LED public lighting program at the Community Arts Center, the Parks and Recreation offices, and also around the municipal pond. Perhaps the biggest project that we completed in 2017 was the new building facility at Crystal Springs Family Water Park. We basically, with the help of just about everybody in town, demolished and built a brand new building in about 6 months, which was no easy task. For all intents and purposes, the building worked very well. It handled the large amount of crowds that we especially receive on the weekends. And after some initial inertia of learning how to work with the building, it was something that we using successfully for the next several years, obviously. I also wanted to mention the last couple of years within the capital budget, the mayor and council have included an annual park improvement program, which may seem like a small item, but for our department, it comes up very handy. And this year alone, we were able to repair the Diederson Park shade structure in Diederson Park, replace many of the benches within our park system, and also purchase new fountains for the municipal pond and the dog park, which we are actually, as of today, installing those new fountains within our dog park, which is a very popular visited park. We also implemented an AED program within our park system. So I just wanted to thank the council and the mayor for including this in our program, the capital budget program, each and every year. The day camp program, the popular day camp program run by our department, was reaccredited by the American Camp Association. for status in 2017. And basically what this means is we go through a very strict standard, 300, up to 300 standards to make sure that we are operating a very safe and efficient program for close to 900 kids that participate in our program each summer. We also received a $30,000 grant for the Shade Tree Division from the State Forestry Department. And basically this is to kickstart our replanting project in regard to the eventual removal of approximately 1,500 ash trees within the right-of-way of our streets due to the infestation of the emerald ash borer, which is in our community. I also wanted to mention, too, the Alliance for Prevention of Alcohol and Drug Abuse falls within our department. And one of their highlights is they were able to work with the Partnership for a Drug-Free New Jersey and the Board of Education in holding a town hall series at Hammersholt School called Knockout Opiate Abuse. And that was a highlight of that group to get them to come to East Brunswick and talk about this important topic, not only in our community, but I think in our country. Moving on to 2018, as you know, the budget is flat, and in our department's case, our programs are predominantly offset by revenues. In 2017, the Department of Recreation and Parks and Crystal Springs Family Water Park combined to collect over $2.6 million in revenues. Some 2018 objectives and goals I wanted to briefly discuss. On your council agenda for tonight is the approval of the synthetic turf replacement at Heavenly Farms. This was a capital budget item that was approved in 2017, and we've been actively researching the best product for our community. And we did a tireless, exhaustive research as far as what we thought was best for our community, and we hope to complete this project in 2018. Also through the capital budget program, we'll be refurbishing the majority of the basketball courts within our park system, in addition to also creating a potential pickleball park or site over at the community, our community park, which is where the recreation office is currently located. We also will be looking to reconstruct the lower tennis court at Community Park, which is in need of repair. And through a previous land swap of the Tysie's Lane Park, we're also looking to reconstruct the handball court within Bicentennial Park as well. We're currently designing the wall right now. Instead of repairing the wall, we're deciding to tear it down and start from scratch, as it is quite old. Just to mention, too, it's the 20th anniversary of Crystal Springs Family Water Park, 25th anniversary. So we're going to have a bunch of birthday celebrations this year. Hopefully we get to see everybody out at the park. As we had a 5-year plan when we first got involved in operating the park as far as really improving the physical aspects of the facility, and I think we've definitely more than accomplished that. We've done 3 very large capital improvement programs in 5 years, and now we're concentrating, especially this year, on actively bringing some quality programming back into the facility. So that facility continues to be on the rise, so to speak. I just quickly wanted to mention, a big thank you in regards to the recent nor'easters we've been having. We had a lot of tree damage that the shade tree crew within our department had to address throughout the town, and a big thank you to Public Works, Water and Sewer, the Police Department, John Cossack from OEM, the Fire Department, Planning Engineering for assistance during those storms. We did not have to hire any contractors in order to begin, and we're still cleaning up the town. We still have a lot of work to do, but I think our departments are really working together. We also get involved in snow removal, and it's really good to see all the different departments work together through a greater cause. And also just a quick note to thank all, I saw many of you at the Daisy Recreation breakfast yesterday. It was good to see close to, I think, 1,000 people there. So I know I saw many of you, and we appreciate your support, so thank you.
All right, is there any questions from the council? Thank you very much. The next department, which we'll be reviewing, is the Department of Aging.
Hi, Danielle McCallie, Director, Department on Aging. Thanks.
No, yes,
Thank you. Nice to be seen.
first round.
So I just wanted to first say thank you to the council and administration for the opportunity to serve as the director for the department. It's both an honor and privilege to be part of such a dedicated team. I also want to thank Sharon Riley Morosi, our assistant director, for her continued leadership and support, in particular during the transition of directors. And 2017 marked the 42nd year of the Department on Aging, assisting older adults and their families in the township. The Senior Center is a focal point for the community, but we are much more than just a senior center. We would like to eventually explore the possibility of adopting a new name to help change the overall perception and misconception of who we are and what takes place there. The East Brunswick Department on Aging continues to provide a comprehensive and diverse array of high-quality programs, assistance, counseling, referrals, social services, activities, transportation, trips, and more to residents 60 and over and their families. The Gerontological Society of America just published their Public Policy and Aging report on January 2nd, 2018. And part of that report stated that social isolation is one of the most serious issues facing older adults. They reported that more than 8 million people, 8 million older adults are socially isolated, which has been linked to increased blood pressure, increased decline in physical health, as well as complications with mental health issues. And the services that we provide to older adults directly improve the consequences described and aids individuals in aging successfully with independence and quality of life. One of the most exciting additions to the department in 2017 was the installation of My Senior Center. This is an electronic-based system that allows for automated check-in, efficient technology assisting us with more accurate reporting, security measures, and future program planning to better meet the needs of our participants. In 2017, our daily average attendance was near 140, with over 5,000 total members, and over 250 new members joined as of last year. Last year, we had over 1,700 social service contacts, which included services such as property tax assistance, income tax assistance, medical assistance, utility assistance, Medicare SHIP counseling, housing, support groups, community outreach, and counseling for families and caregivers on age-related concerns and issues. The Senior Meals Program delivered close to 7,500 meals to nearly 400 older adults, and this all done by a group of dedicated volunteers. The department's drivers provided over 13,000 rides to and from the center, shopping, banking, restaurants, community events, and more. And we also coordinated 2,341 medical transportation rides as well. Other programmatic highlights include such things as high-level health and wellness classes, educational and intergenerational programming, creative arts, film, book discussions, musical programs, large special events, parties, and much more. We are the only senior center to our knowledge in the county and among very few in the entire state that has a chef on staff to offer a hot home-cooked lunch daily. I'm proud to report that we were able to help offset some costs through grant funding, such as Community Development Block Grant funds for specialized programs and speakers, through an outreach grant in which the county provides us for funding with our Senior Meals Program, as well as sponsorship for activities and programs by local businesses, as well as assisted living and home care agencies in the township. We are also fortunate to have an active group of volunteers through the Friends of the Senior Center who sponsor a number of events and entertainment as well. This year, we have been approved for $17,000 in funding from the Middlesex County Office of Aging and Disability Services for our Senior Meals Outreach Program. We have also submitted Community Development Block Grant applications for much-needed updates and repairs to the center, mainly the public restrooms, and will continue to research other grants and cost-saving solutions throughout the year. Other goals this year include coordinating and collaborating with other departments such as Recreation and Parks on joint projects, as well as Public Works, and continuing to update the center's interior, enhancing our marketing and public relations regarding the unique and comprehensive programs and services that we offer through such things as more community events like health fairs, exhibits, speaking engagements, boosting social media presence, and more. And finally, continuing to explore new and innovative programs and activities here in East Brunswick to drive in new members, as well as some of the younger members of the older adult population. So I just want to say thank you again for your continued support, and there is no request for an increase in budget at this time. It remains flat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So any questions from the council? Thank you.
Nice to have you here. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Thank you.
The next budget up for review is the library.
What page is that?
Let's see, it's on page 66.
66.
Your health stuff is on 21.
No, it's not 66.
Yeah, it's not 66. I didn't have it.
You got a page, Lou, for library?
It's not 66.
No, that's Cantor Line.
375. Thank you. One line item.
I'm sorry, Jen, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm Jennifer Kelsey. I'm the library director. I just want to point out that the packet that you received was actually put together in our new EB Create Makerspace using our cone binding machine. All of that was made possible by our generous friends of the library group. So I point that out. We make and create in the library. On pages 2 and 3 and 4, you'll see we've been working hard on our new mission and vision and strategic goals that we're going to carry through the next few years. Our mission to inspire our community to learn, create, and live fully. And our vision to make East Brunswick Public Library a welcoming place for learning, enhancing creativity, enriching lives, and making meaningful connections. We have several strategic goals and initiatives that we plan on achieving those goals. Continue to offer innovative and collaborative programming, provide collections and services that meet the needs of our ever-changing community, and continue to partner with a wide range of local organizations to increase our impact and further our reach. We also would like to offer borderless service, borderless meaning online and internet, improve our online presence, perhaps look at other locations on how to reach the community, and increase our technological infrastructure. We also like to continue to be known for connecting citizens to information, knowledge, talents, and systems that contribute to their success and well-being. Our big goal the next few years is to reduce all barriers to access for our community. Physical barriers, financial barriers, so that they can use all of our resources. On page 5, and this will be on our webpage for everyone to view, shows how busy, dynamic, well-used, and well-loved our library still is. A lot of great numbers on there, and we'll talk a little bit about those later, but you can see we signed up over 2,000 new library card users last year. People are still using the library very much. Our museum passes, also provided by the Friends, 659 times they went out, and we had over 300,000 searches of databases. So those things are still being used. Now, what you want to talk about tonight, pages 6 and 7 is our summary budget. As Lou said, the one number we talk about is the municipal appropriation. As you know, I think, is $3,675,806. That reflects a decrease of $9,494 from 2017, with no increase for salaries or fixed costs. You can also see that what we also count in our revenues is any revenues that we bring in to help bridge our budget gap, including passports, which are a good revenue generator for us, fines, grants, and meeting room expenses, anything we charge for, and this year as well as fund balance. You can also see how our expenditures are broken out. Our operating expenses are around 20% of the budget at $883,000. Fixed costs 25% at 1.131 million, sorry. And our salaries are 2.4 million, or 55% of our budget. So, a few highlights to point out. Our municipal appropriation was a bit lower than expected, so prompted some cuts in hours and services, not as much as we had originally planned for, which is a good thing. The fixed costs did increase slightly due to health insurance for us, different employees choosing different plans and things, so that increased our budget. We did use $25,000 from our fund balance to bridge that gap. We also cut 180 operating hours in 2018. We advertised that's we're now closed between 9 and 10 a.m. Monday through Thursday, but we do hope to give patrons more opportunity to use the library by opening Sundays in July to kind of offset that a little bit. Some other smaller cuts included, we kind of spread it out between collections, processing, maintenance, and operations. Certain costs continue to rise. I want to point that out because it may seem that a slight decrease for us is we should be able to absorb, but it's not always the case. Costs are going up. Anyone who has a newspaper subscription at home still, maybe a few of you, will know that print is still going up dramatically. So imagine that on our scale for the materials that we purchase. Our print materials are still going up, but they're still in very high demand. Our print collections are circulated highly, and they're continuing to go up each year. But also digital subscriptions are going up. So those are based on a pay per use. So each time someone, in most cases, takes out something, an ebook or an audiobook, we pay per use. So we want to encourage people to take them out. And of course, it's a new preferred method of getting information to you, and people love those services. So the more the streaming services are popular, the more expensive it gets for us to provide them. So we kind of balance that of how much do we advertise this because it's going to cost us more. But again, so those things are going up too. Revenue projections are down a bit, and that's a national trend. We're no exception to that. The reason for that, people always ask me, why is that? Why are revenues going down in libraries? And the main reason for that is technology. We've made it easier for people to renew their books. We've made it easier for people to get things from home. So that's a great thing. We don't want to discourage that, but it also means our fines are tumbling down, and we don't get a lot of money back from that as much as we used to. So on pages 8 and 9, you will see I wanted to point out all of the ways that the library partners and collaborates with local organizations and with other departments in the township. We have close to 50 organizations currently that we partner with, and still adding and hoping for more. We're always looking for new ways to collaborate and create new partnerships. There's a lot to list, so I'm not going to call it any specifically, but there's a lot. Page 10, I wanted to include in this all of the grants that we have been awarded and that we are currently working with. The library is always looking for additional sources of funding. We do this not to supplement our operating costs, but to provide new and exciting programs and services for residents. On page 11, you'll see all our awards and honors. You know, our staff is amazing. If you haven't been in the library, please come and see how amazing they are. Listed are some of the honors and awards that they've received over the years, and some very recently. EBTV is a consistent winner at the Jam Video Music Festival. We also received last year the Promising Practices Award from the Department of Labor, New Jersey Department of Labor. We also received an award from the New Jersey Hospital Association last year for partnering with local libraries to increase community health literacy. We received a 2017 Environmental Achievement Award for our Option Green Lecture Series. And one of our librarians was recently named a Library Journal Mover and Shaker, Karen Parry. Only 50 librarians in the nation get that honor. So just wanted to point out some awards. And on page 12, you'll see a few words from our patrons where they talk about how much they love the library. And I hope you will take the time to read that. In closing, I'm going to read this part because I'll mess it up. I want to thank Council for their continued support and history of collaboration over the years, even in the toughest of economic times. As the mayor stated in his opening remarks 2 weeks ago, the township funds the library over the amount that is statutorily required. This support is what has helped me make East Brunswick Public Library one of the best in the state. Our library has been consistently recognized for its innovation and standards of excellence in providing top-notch service to the residents of East Brunswick for 51 years. As you saw from the infographic, we had over 350,000 visitors to the library in 2017. Over 575,000 items were borrowed from the library, and we had over 32,000 people come to our programs. And we were closed for 2 weeks for renovations, so the numbers would certainly have been higher than that. Our programs and our initiatives are diverse and far-reaching. Beyond the traditional borrowing of books, we have ESL and citizenship classes, provide training to seniors with vision impairment to use assistive technologies, offer health lectures, provide quality health information to patrons. We provide in-depth career assistance in partnership with the New Jersey Department of Labor. We offer technology instruction, which provide residents with skills needed in an increasingly digital world. Offer a variety of children's programming in partnership with EB School District. We have a dynamic volunteer team group who plan events and participate in community service projects and much more. Our services are too extensive to list. Continued diminished support is of concern by the Library Board of Trustees Finance Committee. Reversing the trend of financial support would substantially affect our ability to provide the type of service that East Brunswick residents expect from their library. We want to continue to provide innovative library programs and services, and we hope that you will continue to provide us with the support necessary to do so. Thank you.
All right, is there any questions from the
Go ahead, Matt.
council? Councilman Wendell?
Yeah. We don't get the opportunity to review or even opine on any of the budget.
Sure.
That, alls we get is a request for funding. We get a list of cuts that are coming. I mean, you have 180 operating hours cut in 2016, or 2018, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. What does it cost for an operating hour at the library?
$180 an hour for that
$100
time.
$180 an
Between
hour?
the 9 and 10 hour is a little bit different than other hours. You have to factor in a lot of different.
That includes
factors.
salaries, utilities, everything that,
Mostly salary, but. Yeah,
So-
about 180, that's about $32,000.
okay. I was just curious because, I
Yeah,
mean,
no, I
we have no understanding as to how the money's spent, where it goes,
I completely
or anything
understand.
else.
And you're all welcome to
you
the
know.
Board of Trustees meetings where we do talk about the budget, and the mayor currently sits on the board, so
Hmm.
we certainly, and anytime someone wants to talk about it, you can certainly come over, and I can
No,
talk
I get
about
that.
it.
It's just, we
Definitely.
get 8 bullet points here of,
Yeah,
different
no,
things. And
I-
I'd just
I
like to
completely get it.
have a little more understanding if we're losing
Yeah.
hours and you're adding fund balance and there's other cuts and your revenues are dropping and things like that. It seems like there's something going on here that, whether not in the library, but
understand. It's a moving
nationally,
target.
locally,
Yeah, there's
something
a lot. I
that
mean,
needs to be addressed.
Right.
And without any more data, it's hard for
Right.
us to understand.
Oh, I understand. The trend, like I said, the trend is moving towards removing barriers to access, not charging the taxpayers twice. They already pay their taxes to come to the library, so we're trying, and this is probably something different that East Brunswick is used to saying, is that we don't want to charge them again. I don't want to charge them extra for books
Agreed.
or any services, so we're looking for grants and outside resources. But yeah, the trend of diminishing revenues is pretty
Well,
pervasive.
And
Yeah.
it's something that because, every other department in town, I believe, Mayor, every other department in town is flat, this year. And I think the mayor did a stupendous job, getting to where he got. The key is that, we do capital expenditures. We put a new roof, I believe, a new HVAC, things like that on the library. And those are all things that are necessary. It's a building that we own and a building that you guys house in. But, just curious, if it's a diminishing return every year, it's negative, and we need to understand how we fix this problem. And we can't understand it, at least I can't understand it, without reviewing and seeing a budget.
Understand.
I saw that frown on your face. I knew you had a thought. Go right ahead,
Yeah,
Councilman
I
Hughes.
want to touch on two things. And one is I do want to reiterate that East Brunswick, I think, as a township, has had a long-standing commitment to fund a library and make sure that we have a facility that is the best in not only the region, but the county and the state at large. And a part of that was the commitment that I think this council and this mayor made in our capital budget and doing some capital improvements. By far, I think the largest piece of our capital program this year was some improvements over to the library building. And with Councilman Wendell's point, I think one of the big differences between the library's budget and every other department that comes here before us is the library is on the hook for their health insurance, if I understand that correct. So, and we're a self-insured municipality. So, and Joe might be, or Lou might be able to better answer my question. You're members of the township's health plan that we're a part of. If there's a large claim in the library, is that absorbed by our entire health insurance pool, or does that get absorbed by solely the library?
The health insurance is a fixed fee that is charged on a per person basis. And if there are large claims, you have stop-loss insurance that covers that.
Right, we're self-insured.
The library does not get hit with a stop-loss or if there's a large claim. Those large claims are absorbed by the pool, and if they exceed the individual or aggregate stop-loss, then the insurance carrier that protects the town covers that. So the library pays the same insurance rate that the utility pay, the water utility, the sewer utility, the parking utility, the pool utility. So the rates, as well as the current fund, so everybody pays the same rate, and it's based upon the collective pool that we have. We have about 1,300 participants in our pool, including active employees, retired employees, and retired employees over age 65.
And so I guess the other question, so, I'm going to use a number of 100,000. I think it's significantly higher than that. But if they have a year where it's a bad luck year and there's a number of employees that get sick, that is absorbed by the entire pool.
It is not looked at individually by the library. If the library were to have a number of...
Not look individually by department.
By department, the answer is no.
The answer is no.
It's absorbed by total.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure of that. And then my other question is, that answers my question, actually. I don't have another question.
I just wanted to go back to what Councilman Wendell was asking about earlier, because it dawned on me, we talk about revenues, and that's definitely a part of the picture, and we're consistently reevaluating our services, reevaluating our budget to see how can we maximize what the money that we are given by the township. Each year, the 2% increase that we've been accustomed to having mostly just covers salaries and health care. So when we don't get, so the cuts, the cuts you're seeing may seem more drastic. Revenues are one piece of that puzzle, but for the most part, we're covering for our
Sure, that's
employees'
similar to every
situation.
other department, though. Every other department,
Right. Well, but other departments will get theirs. We wouldn't. So that's not the
Well,
same.
what I'm getting is most other
Right.
departments are flat this year.
They're operating. They're operating, yeah. But not salaries. When they get their salary increases, the library wouldn't if we didn't create these cuts. They're going to get their salary increases separate, aside from ours. So that's a
That
little
is not
different.
a correct explanation of the comparison. A number of the operating departments have lower salary lines, as you'll see the budget. There's been a reduction of staff. There's been a change in staff. There's been a change in people and priorities. They've been shifted around so that when jobs became open, they didn't fill them, and they were shifting. It's not an automatic that the town somehow gets an automatic 2% increase, and the library didn't. It's a balancing approach to, as the mayor indicated when we started this budget process, he laid out certain goals. And those criteria were applied to everybody uniformly. The library has not been treated any differently than all of the other divisions and departments and utilities. So that to suggest that there might be something, one way of treating one person and another, it's a management issue to manage within the parameters that were established.
You had a question, Councilman Stanley?
I just want to know, you said there was a loss of revenue last year? How much, what percentage was that?
I don't have those figures on me right now. I said declining revenue projections.
So
So
majority
we
of the,
can't, we have to
majority of
project
the
less.
operating hours being cut due to the
No,
revenue loss?
no, it's due to the fact that we didn't get a 2% increase to cover staff and healthcare.
To that
That's
point,
why I was
to
just
that point,
referring to
what
that
we're,
before, not to,
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
not to put against any, I'm just explaining from our point of view, this is what our budget gap is, and this is how, the only way for us to
but you
cover an
have,
almost $70,000 difference in what we have to come up with is
you
to
said
cut
there was
hours.
$180 per hour, right?
Yeah,
So that amounts to about 32,000, right? And you do have a surplus over 700,000
in which account are you talking about?
in the library budget from last year?
In the fund balance? We did take 25,000 from our fund balance, which is not 700,000 at the time, but right now, but yes, we did take 25,000 from our fund balance.
So
to
what is
cover
the fund
this.
balance?
I'm sorry?
What is the fund balance?
I think at this point, I'd have to check to see if the money has been moved over from the township, but between 300,000 and 400,000.
Because I was reviewing your budget, which I had asked Mr. Neal to send me. At that point, I believe there was a surplus from last September, about 900,000.
And
That
as
includes all
of
of our-
September, when it was sent to you, there was 700,000. By the end of the year, the library had not spent over $400,000 of the appropriation you made in 17, so that went to fund balance for them for 18, so that there was 400,000 plus whatever was accumulated prior to that in their reserves, so that the library did have a significant balance of which to draw from if they elected to continue operations. So to close hours is a choice the library made. It's not a funding issue. It's a choice they made because they have adequate funds with their reserves that were not spent from prior years.
Well, I disagree, Mr. Neely. With that assumption, first of all, the numbers aren't exactly correct. Second of all, the reserves that you're talking about are there to pay out when people retire and we have sick leave payout. The EBTV, the courtroom that they're renovating now, comes out of those reserves. There's many other things that come out of
No.
reserves, it's not just fund balance. So there is an amount of fund balance there. Our auditor, who is also the township's auditor, recommended that we not go below a certain amount, and that is one of the ways that we informed our decision, was based on his recommendation.
Correct
So
me if
we're
I'm
looking at
wrong.
multiple
Excuse me.
years.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Neely, but I believe we received our money from Comcast that paid for our courtroom
It's in our
camera.
reserve account, though.
But it's in a capital reserve for them. There was $200,000.
Thank you.
That when the township signed the franchise agreement, the $200,000 was given for new equipment for the library for the cable program, so that's in a capital account. It's not in the operating reserve.
Correct.
Of which I
Thank you.
referred.
Thank you
It's
for
part of that
clarifying that.
number, though.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not, it is or it isn't?
It is.
It
It's
is
in our
not.
reserve.
It
It's
is-
transferred
The
over to our
reserves are
account.
based of operating funds, which are current funds, and then there are
Big
capital
reserves.
reserves, and then the library has trust fund reserves. So the reserves are based upon 3 different classifications or categories. One may take and add them all up, but they have different spending requirements and priorities. There's a capital reserve, just as there's a capital program, there's an operating program, and then they have a number of trusts that people have been given bequeaths or they've had revenues for those items, so that there are 3 different, but their audit would show that. It's not something for this discussion, I don't believe.
No. Thank you, Mr. Neal.
Right, just
You
to,
have further questions, Mr. Stanley?
so 200,000, is that part of this reserve money?
But the $200,000 was reserved for
Capital.
renovation for equipment. They had a list of equipment they wanted to buy. They, in fact, have started to buy some of the new cameras that are in this courtroom now, and if anyone is watching this on their internet, they're seeing it in high definition. That is really a quality picture. Comcast will not show it on high definition because we get the free channel, but we don't get high definition. So that you can see the benefit, anyone goes to the internet, they can see the skills with which they have spent. And there are other improvements for this operation. So they've spent some of the $200,000, but that was all capital for specific improvements to the courtroom.
But my question is, this 200,000, is this part of that 400,000 surplus?
It was not.
It's separate, it's a separate line item.
It's separate.
Right, we have separate reserves that we've always had over the years that are used to pay for improvements. You know, the township gives us an allocation, and one thing that's different than many other libraries is that we don't ask for anything else. We maintain our building from soup to nuts, you know. Every single thing is done out of our library budget. We don't come back asking for anything except for the major capital improvements, but also our reserve accounts are for many different things. We've always had them. And as I mentioned, the money that you're talking about, which is our balance that rolls over from 2 years prior, not last year, is money that, like I said, the auditor had made a recommendation us not to go below a certain amount. Also, the library board, I don't want to speak for them, they're the ones who actually ultimately make this decision, but we're concerned, as I mentioned, of continued diminishing funding. So had that happen, we need to have money in the account to continue a certain level of service. If we were to take all of our money and dump it into this year, and then next year another cut comes, now in 6 months we're back to letting people go and reducing more hours. It's not sustainable, in other words. You know, we're continuing to always adjust our services and programs based on revenue loss and other things that are going on, but every year we'd hope to give our employees raises, and raises in healthcare also have to be covered. If we continue to have to dip into our fund balance for that, it's not going to be there. So every year we don't always have a large fund balance. Every once in a while it happens, but that's not the case every single year.
Okay.
If I may. You made a statement that indicates that you maintain the building soup to nuts, but we put the roof on, in prior years.
Right,
We put a roof on,
capital
we put HVAC in, we do a
Of
lot
course,
for that building.
absolutely.
I just wanted to clarify that.
No, absolutely, that's
Now-
what I said, except for capital projects, like I said, the roof and the
Yes.
HVAC most certainly, but I'm saying the day-to-day operations,
We
which in many
we
places.
also maintain the parking lots, do snow removal,
Yeah,
cut the grass,
right.
do tree removal.
Yes,
and we-
anything inside
we
the
rep-
building, we
Okay.
maintain.
I think what is important is that if that's the policy that they have going forward, that they're not going to ask for capital for internal renovations. In prior years, we have spent a lot of capital to help them buy
Yeah.
computer equipment, new shelving, new software, so that the town, besides giving them money for operation expenses prior to this director, did provide a great deal of capital for ongoing operations within the library, so that a lot of the improvements and the structure that they have within was paid for out of capital as part of the annual capital budget. And they are given every year the privilege of asking, when engineering sends out and says, are there capital needs that are prioritized? Every year, their list is on that, they have a list on that. So it's not that somehow they're silo over there all by themselves with their funding source. As the administrator indicated, there are a lot of interconnected services that are provided, and that is really why we all believe that the library is quality, that it's a great opportunity, that the cable does a good job, and that's why you funded it that well, and that's why we continue to fund it well over and above the mandatory requirements, because it is a priority for the mayor and for you people, and you as the council members. And so it's not, as she might suggest, that they're
She
a
hasn't.
silo.
Okay, Councilman
I
Hughes.
didn't say
I
the
do-
child.
I do want to chime in, because I think we are getting to a point, and
Getting
I love being adversarial up here, but I think we're getting to a point where we're getting adversarial, not amongst ourselves. So that's why I want to chime in, and I agree that we want to have a clear indication of what's going on and where the money is spent and how we are appropriating funds. But I will remind everyone up here, really the ball is in our court. We do not go over the library budget line by line, although we do with the mayor's appointment and with the council advice and consent, we do appoint the members of the library board of trustees. And if we have issues with line items or how much of surplus is being used or not used, that is really the way that we make our voices heard as a council with regard to the specific line items. It is really not our purview to go over line by line. We make our determination on the total number in lump sum. With respect to the surplus, I will take the other side of the coin. With all of the priorities that we have in the township coming up, and I detailed some of them last week, but we have redevelopment going on. We have a need in public safety probably already for additional police officers. Certainly when redevelopment comes online, we will probably need to actually act on that. We'll have a reval at some point coming down the pike. We have staff needs in a host of different places. We have capital projects that we've put off and initiatives that we want to begin to undertake. I don't think it is unreasonable for members of the Library Board of Trustees to think there will be an additional windfall of additional funding coming next year or the year thereafter. So in my view, them having a surplus from which to draw down from, I don't think is the worst idea in the world. And secondly, proportionally, I don't believe that their surplus is much higher when you take it as a percentage than we have over at the township. And they use our auditor. So the surplus number does not bother me as much as it might some others. And I think you are being realistic, probably. If the revenues are going down, just to get yourself to a flat level of funding, you'll need to draw down on that. And then with all the priorities we have coming down the pike in the years ahead, and the budget is just not a one-year document, but it really guides us for 2 and 3 years in the future. In my view, I think you guys are doing all right.
Thank you. I appreciate that vote of confidence.
Thank you,
And I just
Councilman
want to
Hughes.
close by saying, yeah, I mean, I said it a few times, and I hope you understand that we do appreciate the funding. And explain, I spend a lot of time trying to explain how we continue to provide what the residents expect from us. Because not just hours closing, but anytime we stop doing something, we're asked why. I think we are responsible stewards of taxpayer money. I think every instance I mentioned was us trying to provide more. So I just want to say thank you again. I did say it a few times, but I wanted to make sure it stuck because I'm not sure if it made it through. But the library and the Board of Trustees do appreciate township support. And
Thank you.
again, I do think this is the best library in the state, and we want it to stay that way.
Absolutely.
And we
Thank
care
you.
very much.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Good side. Tell me a little bit more about this museum pass checkout.
Museum
What?
Pass. Again, funded by our wonderful friends of the library. The Museum Pass program is one where you can take out a museum pass, and some you can check out online, and some you come in person, you pick it out. You can take your family at no cost to you to go to a museum. There's several. Some of them are taken out all the time, so you have to reserve in advance, but it's a wonderful program.
Like what? Like in New York or the New Jersey?
Several, yeah, the most popular one is the Grounds for Sculpture. We actually added a pass for that. The Frick Museum, the Battleship, there's several other ones you can go on the website and check, but we're adding a few more this year too, thanks to the friends.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Very good
Thank
addition.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And to close this evening, we will have Director of Public Safety, Deputy Chief. Chief. That's her fault, not mine.
it is. It was
Not my bad, her bad.
I bet.
You got demoted.
Well, if he does an hour and a half, he's gonna be demoted.
10
Okay.
minutes, Chief.
Got 12 minutes.
Pressure's on.
They start on 21. Really nothing at the bottom, but it goes on 22.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. As you all know, the Department of Public Safety's 2018 operating budget is the same as 2017, so we haven't seen any increase in our operating budget. I'm going to take this opportunity to explain how the police department utilizes its budget and resources to serve the needs of our community. Quick look at our mission statement. This is an excerpt from our mission statement created with input from both supervisors and patrolmen. It defines and guides us as an organization. We believe in building a trust and confidence in a partnership with our community, and we strive to meet the needs of our culturally diverse community with a strong commitment towards enhancing the quality of life for everyone in East Brunswick. Our current manpower levels, we currently have 83 full-time sworn officers. We also have special police, dispatchers, civilian support staff, crossing guards, animal control officers, totaling out at 165 public safety personnel. Here you can see our Department of Public Safety's table of organization from the Office of the Chief to the Patrol Division, Investigative Division, Administrative Division, and Special Operations Division. Each division works towards the mission of our department in a collaborative and supportive manner. Our commitment to professional policing was recognized by the public as we were voted the best police department in Middlesex County in 2017. This was the second year in a row we received this recognition from the readers of the Home News, and I want to thank the public for casting a vote for us. Through effective communication between divisions, we can quickly adapt to different situations and assist each other in providing the high level of service our community deserves. Our department hires the best law enforcement candidates. We have the finest officers, detectives, and supervisors. All are highly trained and as a team produce outstanding results. I'll look at our 2017 enforcement. This slide will help illustrate what kind of performance we are getting from the salaries and benefits taxpayers are spending on police services. Our goal is to continue this performance into 2018. So let's do a quick overview of 2017 and see what we can expect moving forward. In 2017, criminal arrests were up 27%. In 2017, department arrests totaled out at 1,692. Motor vehicle summons enforcement remained outstanding at almost 15,000 summonses. As a department, we concentrate on hazardous summonses to reduce the accident rate, and it works. As you can see, accidents were down in 2017 for the second year in a row, despite the fact that we see more and more vehicles on our roadways each year. This criminal and traffic enforcement is a good example of the proactive policing being done by each division. It directly correlates to a safer community, and our productivity consistently ranks at the top of our county. We'll look at our dispatch service entries. Our operating budget supports our ability to address our large number of service entries. They've exceeded 80,000 now for 2 years in a row, and we expect to break 80,000 service entries again in 2018. We'll look at our investigative division. They handle all of our seizures and forfeiture. Seizures and forfeiture are both cash and property, which are proceeds of criminal activity. We then spend these funds with the prosecutor's approval on law enforcement equipment outside of the budget at no expense to the taxpayer. This is one of a few options I have as chief in order to make needed improvements, especially with operating budgets remaining the same every year. Arrests by officers in 2017 led to our cash forfeiture to increase by 29%, and our vehicle forfeitures increased by 35% from the prior year. Just this month, we replaced our 46-year-old men's locker room. We applied $25,000 in forfeiture funding to that project and offset 46% of the total project. We installed a gas pump awning in 2017, fully funded through forfeiture, at a taxpayer savings of $5,189. We purchased defensive tactics training mats in 2017, also fully funded through forfeiture at a savings of $6,700. These mats allow officers to train in defensive tactics, thereby increasing proficiency while limiting liability and injury. We use forfeiture to fund $2,500 to our Middlesex County Crime Stoppers Canine Search and Rescue, which is available to our township. We use $4,850 in cash forfeiture to pay all the shipping costs for our newly acquired Rescue 1 vehicle, which was shipped up from Florida. Our department also recently placed a newer model seized and forfeited vehicle from a criminal case worth approximately $15,000 into our investigative division fleet. This vehicle replaced a prior vehicle which was 20 years old and had little to no value. So moving forward, we're going to continue to look to place like new seized vehicles into our investigative division fleet to replenish that division, because most of those vehicles are currently at the end of their service life. We'll also be looking to continue to make necessary improvements to headquarters, offsetting taxpayer expense through cash forfeiture. Our police department recognizes the need for fiscal responsibility and ingenuity, which leads to progress. For instance, our administrative division recently reorganized civilian personnel in police administration, records, our training facility, and investigative division to be cross-trained to handle an increased workload. With bail reform and additional discovery and evidence requests, we have had an increased workload which significantly impacted our employees. This cross-training allows us to maintain our high level of service without increasing the number of employees. Administration also facilitated the acquisition of Rescue 1, our MRAP from 2017 through our LISO program at no cost to the taxpayer. It's already paid dividends. As you know, we had that first nor'easter of 2018 where we had several trees and a lot of extensive damage in town. The MRAP was utilized. It moved several trees out of our roadways in order to allow our residents to get home. So this go anywhere, move anything type vehicle is one of the reasons why we acquired it. Also in 2017, administration rewrote our alarm ordinance and partnered with Crywolf False Alarm Solutions for several reasons. The first was in an effort to reduce false alarms. We also want to reduce unnecessary police response to false alarms and adequately register, track, and collect revenue. This function alone was basically a full-time job for one of our administrative clerks, who also had other responsibilities. So our in-house program on alarms was not working. Nothing was getting done appropriately. Not to anyone's fault. There's just too much work in that one division. So our goal is to reduce false alarms, recover some costs, and outsource this function to allow employees in administration to handle other responsibilities. And I expect it to be very successful. Also, police administration is currently working on a schedule and salary adjustment in police communications so we can retain communications personnel, and this will save us both time and money through reduced employee turnover. Continuing with fiscal responsibility, police administration teamed up with special operations and outsourced the scheduling and payment of all traffic and quasi-duty work to Extra Duty Solutions. Extra Duty Solutions is a third-party vendor who provides scheduling software and collects payments from vendors. This is at no cost to the township. It saves us over $21,000 a year just in part-time salary because we no longer have to handle the scheduling in-house. Also, administration does not have to handle billing as was done in the past, which frees up those employees to handle other projects. Our Office of Professional Standards received $7,167 from the New Jersey State Body Armor Grant in 2017, and we can expect similar funding in 2018. Special Operations Division received funding on 4 safe driving grants totaling $22,000. Click it or ticket, you text, you drive, end of summer and year-end DWI grants. In 2018, we're also going to apply for a pedestrian safety grant worth $7,000. These DWI funds go for DWI patrols and also allow us to buy equipment outside of the budget. Special Operations also held 2 police impounds auctions in 2017, which brought in just over $10,000. We just held one in February of 2018, which brought in another $10,000. These vehicles are impounded for a variety of reasons. They're abandoned or not cleaned by their owners. We also handle animal control calls for South River and Spotswood. These 2 contracts bring in $10,800 a year. All incurred overtime by our employees, and all boarding fees incurred are also extra. A look at our police training facility revenue and savings to see where we're going with that. We're going in a very positive direction. In 2017, the police training facility generated just over $225,000 in revenue. The ability to generate revenue and offset costs and allow officers to train on site is a great asset to the department. We increased the number of seminars by 9 and hosted qualifications for 15 agencies. Over the past 2 years, the training facility has undergone several improvements, both within our allocated budget and through the utilization of grants. We recently ordered 2 outdoor storage containers and cabinets at the training facility for $10,000, all paid for with grant money. A little more about our police training facility and our training. Our officers logged 2,608 hours of training at the training facility in 2017. This was an increase of 14% from the prior year. This training time also represented about $45,000 that would have to be paid out if we were to train elsewhere. We also receive free seats when we host a class at our training facility at a savings of almost $7,400, additional savings. During 2017, officers within the department completed over 4,600 hours of total training, including both in-service and classes offered by many federal, state, and local agencies. 73% of our department training, both at our training facility along with training off-site, was free. This is possible because we closely monitor free schools offered by county, state, and federal agencies. And in 2017, with a dedication to the training function, we turned our $15,000 training budget into over $61,000 in training. Officers in turn bring back training and are required to present it to the department during our in-house training. This idea is basic, but it's often underutilized in government and business. The idea is what an employee learns does not end with them alone, but it's passed on and taught to others so that the whole agency can benefit. A look at our communications system coordinator and OEM. The Office of Emergency Management responded to approximately 39 emergencies in 2017. They're responsible for maintaining our township's 2-way radio system and 911 system, along with income-generated shared service agreements. The township spends approximately $117,000 a year on our radio system maintenance. However, we bill other municipalities approximately $110,000 a year in shared service agreements, which almost pays the bill for our own system, making it very cost-effective. Quick look at our community programs in 2017 and 2018. As an agency, we make every attempt to assist the community in every way possible. We increased our community policing unit from 1 officer to 2 officers in 2017. However, community policing is not just a unit within our police department, but it's a department philosophy shared by all the officers and the civilian staff. We were also one of the first, if not the first, police departments in the state to address school safety after the tragedy in Parkland, Florida, with the swift implementation of officers in different schools throughout the district. The program provides for a safe environment. It's really been well received by residents and students. And because of the police department's and Mayor Cohen's close relationship with the Board of Education, implementation has been very smooth. A few projects and considerations. We're still in the process of replacing our outdated vehicle fleet. 6 vehicles were approved this year, and this support from the mayor, CFO, and council is allowing me to address and maintain our fleet, which really does save our department in the long term. In the late spring, summer of 2018, the Department of Public Safety will be accredited through the New Jersey Association of Chiefs of Police. Through the process of accreditation, our agency will meet industry standards set forth and recognized by the Chiefs of Police and the JIF. Accreditation strengthens accountability both inside the police department and the community, with standards that clearly define authority, performance, and responsibility. It also limits our agency's liability and exposure because we have shown that we are going to be in compliance with recognized law enforcement standards. One future consideration is the replacement of 2 Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Both are 2005 models and have over 13,000 miles. Trade-in value is about $8,500, bringing the cost to replace both bikes at $32,000. However, we're also going to look into the feasibility of leasing, which seems to work in other police departments. So we're going to take a look at that and see if that's more cost-effective moving forward. So I want to thank each one of you, and I always like to let everyone know that the East Brunswick Police Department is committed to the protection and safety of all who live, work, and visit our jurisdiction. I want to thank the council, mayor, business administrator, CFO, and the community for its support. Thank you very much.
Is there any questions from council? Councilman Stanley?
Is the false alarm ordinance, is that already in place, in effect?
It should. It hasn't gone live yet. We're in the process of it, of notifying people, but it will go live soon. That's it? Guys are pretty. Thank you.
Before we break it all, is there anyone from the public wishing to ask any questions or make any comments regarding the budget only? Seeing none, I will end this session for review of the budget. We're calling the order of this meeting of the council. Would you please stand and for the Pledge of Allegiance and for a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And while you're standing, would you please just take a moment to give your thoughts to the Elliot Taubenslag, who was a longtime teacher and very involved in the recreation programs in town, passed away today. And so just a moment of thought for him too also. Thank you. Ms. Perry, please call the roll.
Councilman Hughes? Here. Councilman Stanley?
Here.
Councilman Wendell?
Here.
Council President Spadafino?
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the Municipal Building Public Notice Bulletin Board located in the main lobby, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk in accordance with the certification which will be entered in the minutes.
Today we have a presentation of a proclamation for the Friends of the Library's 44th Annual Bargain Book and Media Sale. Councilman Hughes will read the proclamation.
And those who are here for it, they come up
Any, right?
with me.
The more the merrier.
Truth.
So there's a proclamation from the Office of the Mayor in honor of the 44th Annual Bargain Book and Media Sale. Whereas the library is one of the township's most valuable resources, bringing knowledge and enjoyment to nearly every resident of our community, and whereas the Friends of the Library support the work of our public library through fundraising and other worthwhile programs, and whereas the Friends of the Library holds an annual book sale in the Brunswick Square Mall as a community service for the benefit of the library and its patrons, now therefore be it proclaimed that Brad J. Cohen, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, does hereby proclaim that April 9th through the 15th, 2018, shall be be known as Friends Book Sale Week within the community in order to recognize the enormous contribution that's been made by the Friends of the Library and to encourage participation in the book sale by all citizens. Be it further proclaimed that Civic Center Drive shall be renamed Book Sale Drive for the week of April 9th through April 15th, 2018.
Yes, thank you. We invite you all to attend our book sale, which, as you know, begins on April 8th. And we thank you for your continued support for all that the library does. As you know, the mission of the Friends of the Library is to support the library in any way that we can. And we know that they constantly update their programs and try to meet the needs of a modern township. We hope that our fundraising helps them in this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, there is no agenda session tonight, but we are moving on to the second reading of the following ordinance, 18-03 of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 3 of the Township Code of the Township of East Brunswick, entitled Article 12, Utilities. May I have a motion for this? Councilman Wendell, second by Councilman Hughes. Is there any discussion from the council? Seeing none, is there any discussion from the public? Seeing none, will Ms. Perry please call the roll?
Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
Councilman Stanley?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Council President Spadafino?
Yes. Moving on to ordinance 18-04, amending Chapter 218, Water of the Code of East Brunswick Township regarding uniform construction code changes.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Councilman Hughes, second by Councilman Stanley. Is there any discussion from the council? Seeing none, is there any discussion from the public? Seeing none, Ms. Perry, will you please call the roll?
Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
Councilman Stanley?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Council President Spadafino?
Yes. Yes. Moving on to reports from the mayor, Dr. Cohen.
Thank you, Council President. Just a couple of things tonight, I promise. Again, we've heard our continuing on our budget hearings this evening, and I just wanted to thank the Township CFO and all of us in administration, and for my council members here in working towards what we hope is going to be a 0% increase in taxes on the township side of the equation. So I think we're well on our way to getting there, and I'm pretty sure we will. And that's a big move for township, where we've constantly, in the last couple of years, have gone out with increases. This is a culmination of a lot of effort on everybody's part, so I want to thank everyone for that. Wanted to shout out yesterday for those of you who were able to go to the DAISY program. As Mr. Reisner mentioned earlier, there was about 1,000 people there. It's truly a tribute to the township and efforts on our part to look out for those that don't often have the ability to look out for themselves. And it was 50 years that we've been doing that, so it's not something that we've just started doing. It's obviously been a commitment that this town has made for decades, and it was a great showing, and it was a nice day. Also want to shout out to all the department members in DPW, construction, Parks and Rec, and police for their outstanding job this year cleaning up snow. I am gotten used to having people call me or write with complaints, and there's definitely room for all of us to do better, but I virtually got almost none on snow this year, and only compliments. And so it really goes to the staff that has really come together and went out there and did a great job. And so I tip my hats off to them.
Let's just hope it's done.
It's a good thing.
Please.
And you do see in your packets tonight, in keeping with this commitment I made at the beginning of the year towards trying to increase the number of shared services agreement, and right now we're trying to pick off some of the easier ones, but over the next couple of weeks, our efforts are going to be geared at trying to do more shared services between towns, with the county, and all of this, while we're trying to do this on our own, and we did get a little boost to that, as the governor's budget address this year did point out the fact that he's appointing a shared service czar, or somebody who is going to be specifically looking to help townships do exactly that. That if we're really going to look to try to save money within townships and boards of ed, within a state like ours that has over 500 different townships and close to 600 different Board of Educations, the only way we're really going to get some real savings is by reducing a lot of overhead, administration overhead, and a lot of that's going to be geared towards shared service agreements, and we already started that. So just wanted to make you aware of what we're here doing tonight and what we're hoping to be able to do on a continuing basis. So that is all for tonight. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Administrator, Mr. Castro.
Just to add my thanks to the departments on the snow removal, outstanding, and I know Mr. Reisner's still here. He's a modest guy, but you know, your staff with the trees, you can't thank them enough. I know we are still picking up debris. Last week was supposed to be the debris pickup around town, and naturally we did that on Monday and Tuesday. But to the residents, just make sure you call in. We know where it is, and we'll be glad to come and pick it up, and just give us some time to get all around the town. Also, in light with the Daisy, they are running a tricky tray that's going to be at the high school. They sold over 300 tickets on Sunday. So I'm hearing it's sold out. We're hoping we can expand the location. I bought a whole mess of them. I will be scalping them on StubHub. No, but outstanding job by everybody with Daisy, and the support of the community is just very emotional when you're there and you think about 1,000 people coming out to breakfast.
Yeah.
At the same time. So it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Director of Law, Mr. Baker.
Nothing, Council President.
Ms. Perry, clerk.
Nothing.
Any council committee? Mr. Councilman Wendell.
Item E on our agenda tonight is awarding a contract to Field Turf. And as sitting as the member of the RPAB up here, I just want to thank Mr. Reisner and his team for such an extensive search on this. We approved this capital expenditure last year, and it took us that much time to do the necessary research for the proper turf. We've all heard different things about different turfs and failures and this and that, and I believe that Mr. Reisner and his team have done a tremendous job finding the right turf that's going to replace ours, not only to replace the turf, but to enhance the turf, to be a better turf field, lined for more active uses of the field. And, the RPAB unanimously approved this last week, and I would urge everyone up here to ask whatever questions you may have, but it's a great, it's going to be a great turf field, the only other turf field of this nature. And that was made by Field Turf, which is, a very big company, but the only field of this nature that's in the state of New Jersey right now is in Rutgers Stadium. So we have the same turf that's going to be that is at Rutgers Stadium. Mike Reisner negotiated and beat some guys up. I don't know what he did, but he got them to throw that turf in for the same price as a different turf, and I think that we're getting a tremendous replacement value. It's under budget and going to do some great things for our athletes. So hopefully we can get it done in the right period of time. Mike even negotiated in, liquidated damages should they not finish in time. So, kudos to Mike. The RPAB unanimously approved this. So, looking forward to it. That turf that we have right now is 12 years old. something like that. So, a useful life of 10 years, we've done pretty well, so
It's good news.
that's all I have.
Okay, moving on to the public portion. If there is anyone wishing to speak, please approach the podium. You will have 5 minutes to speak. Please state your name and address. Direct all of your comments and questions to the chair. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Please approach the podium. Give your name and address.
Thomas Sharrow, Harrison Avenue. Good evening. I first would like to publicly congratulate Captain Soak on his recent graduation from the 271st session of the FBI National Academy. Captain Soak, the Special Operations Division, and the EBPD as a whole has been very instrumental in with regards to improving safety and traffic measures within our neighborhood and East Brunswick as a whole. So I'm very grateful for his service to the community. I just wanted to acknowledge his accomplishment. And in addition to the sentiments expressed regarding the Daisy Breakfast, in addition to, I think we walked away with even more popcorn and ate more at home than we did bacon and eggs. So a tremendous and successful event for a worthy cause. The volunteer fair that was held at the library was a successful event. Speaking specifically for the Municipal Alliance, I did wish to point out 2 specific items to mark the calendars for May 5th. There will be an event held at the Community Arts Center from 1 to 4 p.m. The theme of the event is EB Cares, Educate, Support, and Inspire. Again, it's at the Community Arts Center. There will be a keynote speaker, interventionists. The EB Alliance will be there. There will be several facilities, the Princeton House, Carrier, I believe, Seabrook. The details are yet to be finalized. The time is currently slated for 1 to 4 p.m. And information will be on the Alliance website, which is on the parcel of the Township website. That was another item that came out of the volunteer fair. So in addition to the Township website, there's also a Facebook page for the Municipal Alliance in case you're looking for additional information. Meeting times, the meetings are open to the public. And not to preempt 1808 in Section 9, the ordinance that will be coming up, I would like to speak to a topic that actually Captain Soak had brought up a couple years ago in terms of a concept called fog lines. And these are lines that are painted on the side of a road to give the perception of the road narrowing. It's more of a visual, subconscious cue instead of adding additional signage. There are studies that have been shown, studies outside of the U.S. One specific study in the city of Chicago, the Chicago Department of Transportation. They had a notorious hotspot in a certain area of the city where they were having a lot of accidents and several fatalities. And by putting in these lines, they had 36% fewer accidents and fatalities in a 6-month period. So it's just something maybe to consider in addition to signage and lowering stop signs within the township to get motorists to start slowing down within our township as they're commuting through the area. And the last item, for March 30th, while it's a solemn and a holy day for many of us, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that it is National Doctors Day. So for those on the board, have a happy National Doctors Day. Thank you.
One question, Tom.
Yes, sir.
The event on the 5th.
Yes, sir.
Now, is that going to be primarily speakers, or is that also going to be like booths with information?
Absolutely. A combination. There'll be education, awareness, activities, booths. So again, I know Jen was meeting with the county. Jen Stetson was meeting with the county today to finalize all the details, so I couldn't speak on the specifics on her behalf, but it will be a comprehensive event, if you will. There will be more than just a speaker or several speakers.
Right.
We'll get all the details. Mr. Reisner's here, still in the audience, so if you're going to have Jennifer contact me and get me all the particulars so I can get it out to the council. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
I just wanted to add to that whole idea about calming, traffic calming. We're starting in June the implementation of bike paths and bike lanes throughout the township. And while it's definitely something that people want from a health standpoint, but in studies similarly to what you're talking about, it's also seen as a traffic calming mechanism, because the concept to most drivers is that the road is now more narrow, and they're just more conscious of looking for bikers, and it just tends to naturally slow down traffic. So it has a utilitarian purpose too.
2 for 1.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And just to add to, in regard to that, we actually, when we lowered the speed limit on Dunham's Corner Road, we actually added the calming lines to that road, just
Right.
to keep traffic, recognizing that it's a slower.
Great.
Hope it works.
Great, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Is there anyone else from the public wishing to speak tonight? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion and move on to the consent agenda. Is there anything that needs to be removed? A, anything else? Okay, so can I have a motion for the following? 16319, appointing deputy court clerk. 16320, authorizing an agreement between the CME Associates and the Township of East Brunswick for preliminary engineering design services for the federal aid project Dunham's Corner Road Bikeway. 16321, of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, authorizing the execution of a shared service agreement with the Borough of South River for animal control services. 16322, awarding a contract to Field Turf USA, Inc. for the Heavenly Farms synthetic turf replacement as permitted under the Keystone Purchasing Network contract number 201-202-01. 16323, to establish standards for electronic disbursement and claimant payment. 16324, authorizing professional services contract with Key Tech Laboratories to perform concrete and asphalt testing services. 16326, awarding a negotiated bid under NJSA 40A 1153, Department of Recreation, Parks and Community Services Day Camp and Daisy Recreation Program busing to Durham School Services. Approval of raffle license RA 2391, VFW Post 133, East Brunswick Memorial, April 14th, 2018 to April 13th, 2019. Approval of raffle license RA 2392, St. Bartholomew's Church, June 2nd, 2018. Approval of council budget workshop minutes, March 12th, 2018. Approval of council agenda action meeting minutes, March 12th, 2018. And approval of bill list. May I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Motion by Councilman Wendell, second H.
It's the number not used. That was the one that we had
Oh.
pulled.
We pulled a
We
H.
pulled it and I changed the page. I guess your pages.
You didn't get the memo?
Sorry.
Second by Councilman Stanley. Ms. Perry, please call the roll.
Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
Councilman Stanley?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Council President Spadafino?
Yes. Going to 16318, honoring Dara Mayers.
Motion approved.
Motion by Councilman Wendell, second by Councilman Hughes.
I am going to take on Councilwoman Clark's normal position here, as I seem to be sitting in the same relative location, and read the resolution honoring Dara Mayers into the record. Whereas Dara Mayers began her 29-year career with the Township of East Brunswick on September 6, 1989. And whereas during that time she started as a crossing guard, then worked as a public safety records processing clerk, and was promoted to Administrative Coordinator 1 for the Department of Public Safety. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council, Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, on behalf of a grateful community, do hereby thank Dara Maris for her dedication and service to the Township of East Brunswick and its residents, and extend to her our best wishes for a long and healthy retirement. Be it further resolved that the Township Clerk is hereby directed to include this resolution and spread its contents upon the minutes of the Township of East Brunswick Council meeting for the purposes of posterity on the 26th day of March, 2018, so that the public service of Dara Maris may be forever recorded in the history of the Township of East Brunswick.
Thank you.
Call the roll.
Call the roll, please, Ms. Perry.
Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
Councilman Stanley?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Council President Spadafino?
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to ordinance requiring a public hearing date of April 9th, 2018, 18-5, ordinance amending Chapter 209, Vehicles and Traffic, Article, let's see, that's 13. Hey, Roman numerals
I
gets you.
know, that's good, I like that.
Schedule Section 209-62, Schedule 23, Roman numerals, speed 22,
If it says Super
speed
Bowl in front
limits
of you, no.
of code, I'm going to skip that part next time, of the code of the Township of East Brunswick to establish a speed limit of 35 miles per hour on Church Lane, 35 miles per hour on Fresh Ponds Road, and 30 miles per hour on Riva Avenue in the Township of East Brunswick, Middlesex County, New Jersey. May I have a motion? So moved by Councilman Hughes, second by Councilman Stanley. Is there any discussion?
Just Council Gregory Pakulski, the director, will be coming at the next meeting to make a presentation and answer any questions that you...
I have no questions. I just had a statement. It's opposite day for me up here. I am always someone who is loath to lower the speed limit on any road in East Brunswick, and it's actually gotten contentious at prior meetings when I just don't usually think it's necessary. But in this case, I have spoken with Greg Pakulski along with Keith Kipp. The geometry of these roads, the amount of ingress and egress that there is, and the sight lines are not great on any of these roadways. And the reduction in speed limit, I'm sure, is wanted by the residents, but it actually, with sound engineering principles, is really warranted here.
Yes.
I wanted to thank the Public Safety Department and the Planning and Engineering Department. This has been a 20-year project. It's probably close to 20 years ago that Mayor Neary and I sat with a group of residents from the Church Lane area talking about doing studies to get the speed limit reduced. I think there have been at least 2 attempts to do it previously, and I'm glad that the departments were persistent and finally are putting this forward.
This is a tremendous amount of work. If you like to go to the clerk's office, you can see it's about 500 pages of study.
I gave them all a CD.
Oh, they each got a CD?
They each got a CD with all the pages.
Yes.
Read up on it, your test.
I will. I grew up in that neighborhood.
Ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ms. Perry, please call the roll.
Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
Councilman Stanley?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Council President Spadafino?
Yes. There is no new business. Any comments for the good of the cause? Councilman Wendell?
If I may, I just want to recognize our mayor, who's actually going to be recognized tomorrow night at the East Brunswick Education Foundation's Partner in Excellence Dinner. And I want to congratulate him on being a Partner in Excellence for the Education Foundation. There are others being recognized. I know Jack Levitt, who has run the Education Foundation, Dana Zimbicki.
And others.
And others.
But,
I mean,
Ben Slater.
I know what an honor it is, and I know, Mayor, you've done, your time on the Board of Ed, you've done your time with Dancing with the Stars, and all of that, and, it's a great honor. It's a great honor.
Thank you.
Fortunately, I may be recognized a little bit there too myself, just because they're recognizing all the previous But it's your night, and
Thank you, but it's
enjoy
it's 25 years that they've been committing funds to the public schools, and this year they actually surpassed the $2 million mark, so it's
tremendous.
It's a big deal, and it's a tribute to the people in town who have continued to contribute and make the schools what they are. A lot of our reputation as a town is on the backs, in many instances, of our great school system, so it is an honor, and thank you for recognizing it.
Anything else? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Wendell, second by Councilman Hughes. All in favor?
Aye.
We're out.